can spend your whole life building something for nothing. One storm can come and blow it all away. Build it anyway. You can chase a dream that seems so out of reach, and you know it might not ever come your way. Dream it anyway.
Most of the kids that walk in here before they know anybody feel that nobody understands them. Most of them carry burdens with them, or hurts or pains. It's when you start really getting to know them and drawing that out of them, then you start realizing what they're going through. But the cool thing about it is that most of the kids have gone through that. Most of the adults and the volunteers that we have gone through that. And so for them to finally feel, it's like they feel like they're finally home. I guess that's the best way of putting it. I'm finally home. I'm finally at a place where somebody can understand me and can accept me for who I am, even if I'm not perfect, even if I'm far from where I should be. Somebody else can relate to where I'm at.
They can come here and feel safe. And a lot of times by not safe, I'm not meaning necessarily that they're in physical danger, but a lot of kids just don't feel physically, or they don't feel emotionally safe. So a lot of kids just don't feel like they have somebody they can just freely talk to. And we can provide an atmosphere that it's non-judgmental. It's, we welcome everybody from every walk of life. We accept them for who they are. And once they can feel that, and they know that whatever it is that they say or whatever it is that they do, they're not going to push us away, that opens them up. And once you can open somebody up, that gives them a better outlook on their own lives. They feel better about themselves. And as soon as you get somebody feeling better about themselves, then they start succeeding in areas of their life where they weren't succeeding before.
Kids today don't really have a place to go where they can feel safe, where they can feel comfortable, and where they have the opportunity to be themselves. And I think that ETO's location has provided that for all of these kids. I've seen them grow. I've seen some of them finish college. I've seen them get jobs, and they're doing really, really well. But I think a lot of them were troubled when they first came. They found a place where they were secure, and that gave them the ability to find themselves and to move on further.
The difference between a kid, even in success at school, the difference between a kid who believes in himself and a kid who doesn't believe in themselves, they might be the same in every other measure, but the kid that believes in themselves is going to do so much better.
I was 15 when I first started coming to ETO, so I've been coming here for about 9.5 years. Up until I came to ETO, I never really felt accepted or wanted or like I really had self-worth. And not that I found my self-worth in ETO, but there were people that were there that instilled in me that I had self-worth. And coming back every week, I felt myself changing, and I couldn't go back to who I was.
For the first time, I think for a lot of these kids, it's the first time anybody's ever really saw or interacted with them as a real person, as opposed to a behavior or a circumstance or a problem. So for a lot of these kids, one of the things that she transforms is she transforms them from the inside out. And she really gets in deep with these kids and really has them really come to understand what their own depth is and what their value and worth is and how important they are.
We feel that it's very important for these kids to understand that there is life beyond their circumstances right now. And that even though they might find themselves in some difficult situations, that does not mean that they can't dream big and live big. And so even though these kids might not come from the most, great opportunities in their life, doesn't mean they can't go on to be doctors and lawyers and, baseball players and musicians and whatever it is. It's just about getting them to realize that God made everybody with potential and a purpose in this life, and that they're masterpieces and they can go on and do whatever it is that they set their mind and their heart on.
My dream is to be an urban explorer of buildings that have been abandoned and left uninhabited by people for years.
My dream is to become an entrepreneur.
My dream is to be a rapper on Native World Inc.
My dream is to become a hairdresser or a paramedic.
My dream is to become a paramedic and an ultrasound technician.
My dream is to get closer to God.
My dream is to unite the world.
What if ETO didn't exist? Well, if it didn't, we'd have a whole lot of kids that would have nowhere to go. You know, because when you're holding on to these kids, there's not, it takes a while before you can let them go. And if you just drop them, they're going to break.
Without ETO, our community would really be struggling, because one of the things, if we don't really reach out to these young people, if we really don't take advantage of the gift that they are, then they really become soured, and our community becomes a darker place.
Wow. Many of these kids wouldn't be here. Many of these kids have said that if it wasn't for this place, they would not be here today. And I can't imagine a world without them.